Welcome. You're listening or perhaps watching to the next episode of Whistlekick Martial Arts Radio, and I'm excited to sit down and chat with good friend, longtime listener, and longtime guests of the show, Mr. Craig Wharem.
What's up, Andrew? It's good to talk to you.
Yeah, it's great to talk to you too. I'm excited to chat about something. I don't know what that something is yet, but if this is your first episode, welcome. We're excited to have you join us. And I want to let you know that this podcast, whistlekickmartialartsradio.com, you can go there to find out all the information on all the episodes we've done. You can find transcripts and show notes and photos, all sorts of stuff. You can also click the subscribe button at the top to subscribe to our exclusive newsletter and find out about every episode as it's released. You also can go to whistlekick.com to find out about all of the things that Whistlekick does. This podcast is only one of those things. So go there to find out about apparel you might want to purchase, or books, or maybe you want to sign up for a teacher training certification program. Maybe you want to attend one of the many events that we host throughout the country. All of that information you can find at whistlekick.com. But let's get into martial things. So this episode is, we're just going to chat. We don't have a plan, unless you have a plan. Do you have a plan?
Never. I go out of my way to not have plans.
You know, I go out of my way to not have thoughts, because when I think, it usually gets me in trouble.
And that's a martial skill, isn't it? Look at that. We already went full circle.
There we go. We're done, right? I mean, it's over.
Listen, record episode.
I don't know that that's a good record that we want to have.
That's fair. That's fair.
I mean, there are records in martial arts. You know, you could do your form in your school the slowest. Maybe you could do it the fastest. Maybe you could do it maybe you have a tournament in your school, you do it the best.
Yeah, sure. You could do it the best of the best.
True.
You never really know. I think my proudest record is, by my count, this will probably be episode 1000 something or other.
1053.
Yeah, and I think I've been in 738 other episodes. So that's a pretty good record for me.
That is a pretty good record. I don't know the actual number. We would have to go back and look, but it certainly has been a lot. Do you have any interesting martial art records or things that you've done that are kind of unique?
No, I not that I can think of. I don't. I never was much of a competitor or anything like that. So that side of things, I don't have any records or things like that. Yeah, I don't think so. I just kind of show up and just keep doing stuff. So,
so I have one. It's an interesting one. It's not a great one. I went and spent 3.5 months in Japan. I brought my uniform and belt and didn't train once.
Well, I know the story though.
But it's true. It's absolutely true.
Yeah.
So that's a record.
Yeah, that's fair. But it's a great story. You've done that on an episode, right? That story?
Yeah, I talked about that during my interview episode before I was ever a part of Whistlekick or a part of the show. So if you want to hear that story, everybody, you have to go listen to episode 472. I think that's my episode. And you'll find out that story. I tried to train.
How do you do that?
I'm a narcissist, so I just remember things about myself. I don't know. I just remember. I'm really good at remembering numbers.
I do. I love that. Whenever I'm talking to Jeremy and it's like, hey, do you remember what episode that was? He'll be like, ask Andrew. He'll know.
Yeah.
And
I mean, I don't have all.
Don't know it.
Yeah, I don't have all 1,000 plus memorized, but some of the bigger ones I will remember.
Yeah. So what was it like going to Japan with a uniform and then not using it? Because I feel like a lot of martial artists go overseas. I know a lot of people go to Japan. Tashi Mark, he's talked in his episodes about going to the Philippines and Indonesia and stuff like that. That's not something I've ever done. So what was it like going there? Because I'm assuming you went to some martial arts landscape, kind of like areas or something.
So I was not over. So first off, it's important to note that I went during one of my breaks from martial arts. So I had gotten my third degree black belt in Shotokan, and then there was a span of about 5 or 6 years where I didn't train at all. And this 3.5 months was in that span. So I wasn't actively training. Martial arts was not as big in my life at that point as it is now. And I brought my uniform just because I was going to be there for 3.5 months. But the reason I was there had nothing to do with martial arts. It was kind of a pipe dream, like, oh, I'm going to Japan. I might as well bring my uniform. Um, and so I was there for musical endeavors. And on one of my days off, and to get the full story, you're going to have to listen to the episode. But on one of my days off, I had one of the translators that worked for us contact a local martial arts school to find out when their classes were. And I tried to show up and go to class, and a very funny, interesting story ensued. But it, I took it as a sign that I wasn't supposed to train because I wasn't actively training. I probably would not have done a good, like, if I had been able to train, the instructor probably would not have thought well of my training. Now, in hindsight, I can look back at it and realize that that's the case, and realize that I went about training in Japan completely the wrong way. You really need to have some sort of connection to the school, and it doesn't have to be you yourself has the connection, but contacting someone over there that has connection to that school to help set a day and time for you to go in and train. And there's really the right way to do it, or at least the more appropriate way to do it. And I didn't know this at the time, obviously, and went about it completely the wrong way. And it did not turn out well. I mean, it didn't turn out bad, like I got beat up and whatever. I just didn't get to actually train. But in hindsight, I think it's probably for the better that I didn't.
So, is it something now, if you find your way back to Japan, that you would want to take advantage of going down the right avenue, following the proper
Oh,
protocol or whatever?
absolutely, absolutely. And this doing this podcast, I think, has helped immensely for that, because I have met, putting in air quotes, met so many martial artists, many of whom are in Japan or Okinawa, who would be able to facilitate training. Um, and I am now training at a school that has connections to Okinawa. So it would be a lot easier for me to do it now. And I absolutely want to. Uh, it will be a while for a multitude of reasons, cost being probably the major one. But like I'm still hobbling around on my foot from foot surgery, so like I'm not, you know, doing nearly as much active training because of that. But ultimately, I would absolutely love to go back and do some training over there for sure.
Yeah, that's cool. The furthest I've gone to train and do martial arts was to Free Training Day Midwest in Kansas. And Kansas, it's not quite so far as Japan. So, it's a similar experience, but traveling and training is fun because you get to meet martial artists of different walks of life and stuff. I think it's neat. So, anytime you get the chance to do it, you should, I think.
Oh, absolutely, absolutely. I have, when I was younger, when I was training in my first school, in the Goju school, I went to visit my dad who lives in Alaska, and I had him ask around to some of his friends, because this would have been, in the late 80s. The internet was not what it is today. You couldn't just go online and find a martial arts school. So I was in Alaska, and I said, hey, is there, I'd be kind of cool to go to a karate class somewhere. And he found a taekwondo school that let me come in and train for a day. I don't even remember that anybody that was there, but I just remember going to Alaska on, to see my dad and training. But now that I'm older, I bring my uniform pretty much everywhere. because you never know. And I will actively seek out, like, if I'm going to be somewhere for an extended period of time. We went to, where did we go? The Outer Banks in North Carolina last summer. My wife and my daughter and I, and we were going to be there for a little over just about a week. And so I brought my uniform, and I didn't know what there were for schools in the area. And when I got there, I kind of went around and I looked up the schools around in the area, and I texted the instructor of one of them, explained who I was, and was able to get in. He's like, "Yeah, absolutely, come on down and check out a class and have fun. You're on vacation, why not?" And so that was a great experience. I went to, and I think I talked about this in my episode too. I went to Scotland for my, again, for work reasons, for music related reasons, but I had also just gotten married a few months earlier. So my wife came, and we basically did our honeymoon in Scotland, and I was able to take a day, drive down into England, and train with Ian Abernathy for a day at his school. So I always bring my uniform now, because if you have the opportunity to meet other people and see how other schools do things, why not take that advantage, that opportunity?
Yeah, for sure. Well, and you know me, I'm always wearing my uniform, so
For,
I
for
agree
those that
with you.
don't for those that don't know, the joke is that Craig rarely wears a martial arts uniform when he's teaching.
Yeah, rarely. And that's for no other reason than it's my own thing. When I was younger, it was always you put on your super suit to teach or to train or whatever. Like, that uniform builds confidence. And so for me, I've hit a point in training for me where it's a little bit to prove to myself I don't need that physical super suit anymore to feel that confidence. And so that's why I choose to do it. But I think there are oftentimes I will wear my uniform still. And in my school, they know if I walk in with a uniform and a belt on, somebody's probably testing or something like that.
Mm-hmm.
I think there are still occasions where you need that sort of thing. But almost always, if you see me at an outside event, I'm not wearing a uniform. If you do see me wear one, it's because one of my instructors asked me to.
Yeah. Now, if you were, let's say, away on vacation for a week, and you took let's say you go to Florida on vacation, would you take your uniform, and would you visit a school in the area?
I would definitely, on vacation, sometimes I definitely look up schools and see what's in the area. I probably, for the same reason as usual, I probably wouldn't bring my uniform. Um, and if I did, I would probably, without the branding call, sorry for the shameless plug, I'd probably wear my whistlekick belt because it's got the white on the other side.
Mm-hmm.
And I'm not uber comfortable with walking in with the formal belts and stuff with the stripes and the things on that. I just want to come in and just be right. I don't necessarily want to be, the guy who runs a school or the higher ranking black belt. I just want to show up and train and learn. So if I did, I'd probably wear that belt because it's got the white on the other side.
Yeah.
But for the most part, no. If I show up somewhere, I'm probably wearing. If I'm wearing anything, it's probably gi pants, and a hoodie of some sort of martial arts hoodie, and I'll just watch and observe. If they allow me to, I'll ask, or I'll do a lesson if they'll let me. But oftentimes when I'm on vacation, usually we've got so much stuff going on that I just don't have the time in there for it. And I'm fortunate enough that martial arts is my full-time gig. So
Yeah.
if I go on vacation and I'm training, then it's not necessarily a full vacation either. So,
Yeah, that makes sense. That makes sense. I remember when I went to a bagpiping and drumming summer school for a week. I used to do it all the time. I haven't gone in a few years, but I remember, again, drumming was what I did for a living. Teaching drumming was what I did for a living. And one of the main instructors that was there, we were all of the drumming students were sitting in a room, and he went around the room and asked everybody like how often they practiced, just to kind of get an idea. And he basically said every single person in this room, with the exception of him, and pointed at me and said every single one of you should be practicing more. Now, what my response, I don't remember what my response was at the time, but it wasn't any more than everybody else. In fact, for some people, I was practicing less than they were. And someone said, "How come he gets a pass? Why does he not?" You say to all of us, we need to practice more, but I practice more than he does, and you telling him he doesn't need to practice more. And he said, it's because drumming is what he does for a living. And sometimes when you get home from quote work, you don't want to then have to work again, do more work. And so I get that. Martial arts is your full-time gig. It is not mine. So when I'm on vacation, for me to train at another school for a day or maybe 2 days while I'm away, that's still a break from my normal routine. Whereas for you would not be. I get that.
I still tend to end up having martial arts conversations. Actually, this is a fun story. I want to say about 4 or 5 months ago, my wife Charlene and I went to Las Vegas for vacation and whatever, and we booked massages and we were at the spa on the strip at the Flamingo, and you go in and there's the steam rooms and the hot tubs and the saunas. You book a massage and then you get like 2 hours to go in the spa and hang out and relax. So the massage therapist calls my name. I go in and they start working and we start chatting, and it turns out they're a martial artist. And they find out that I, run martial arts schools. The entire hour was filled with stories and questions, and like it was a work massage, which was the funniest thing on the planet. And it was fun, and I enjoyed every second of it. I didn't seek out the conversation; it just happened organically. But I love when it does.
Well, and
I think that that's neat.
And I think that's natural. When you meet someone new, what are the two questions that always inevitably come up? It's where do you live and what do you do for work? And so that's not, and even if the other person, maybe your job is, working in a power plant, even if the other person you're talking to has no idea what that's like, they're like, oh, what is that like? I don't know what that's like. What is it like to work in a power plant? And you end up telling stories about what you do. So I guess it's not that surprising.
Yeah, yeah, and it was fun. They had done all sorts of martial arts and things like that and stuff. It was a fun conversation. So yeah, I showed up to relax and then talked about martial arts, which was in a lot of aspects more relaxing. Because I got to be the one asking questions too. It wasn't just answering them, which was nice.
Yeah. Anything, so that's decent travel going to Las Vegas. It's
Yeah.
certainly not right. It's certainly not right next door. Any martial arts stuff? Not that you did martial arts, but did you see anything out there that related in any way?
Not this time, but we go out there, somewhat frequently, and there's a Cirque du Soleil show called Ka out there, which is really cool.
Yep.
Very martial arts driven, and that's pretty neat to watch if you're ever in Vegas and you get the chance. I would recommend seeing that show. It's pretty cool. But otherwise, for the most part, no, unless I'm watching like Rush Hour on the plane ride or something, not so much.
Or Best of the Best.
Or best, yeah, they tend not to have that on the JetBlue flights, though.
Yeah, that's fair. That's fair. What else is going on? What else is going on with you these days? Martial art wise, like obviously you run a school, so what else can we chat about that's current in your brain right now?
Yeah, I mean, it's summertime right now. We did an episode about a month ago on summer camps, so those have wrapped up.
Yep.
I'm pretty excited because I'm coming up to my skill builder day. It's actually funny because I feel like you and I have talked about so many different facets. So it's like we did an episode on running special events with outside instructors. So you can always revert back to that episode too. But I've got my skill builder day rolling around, which is going to be at the end of August. Actually, by the time this comes out, it will have just finished.
Yes, so the Skill Builder Day happened last weekend. If you're listening to this on the day it got released, it was great. It was amazing. Awesome. Everybody had a great time. I tried to make it, but I couldn't get back from Scotland in time. It was lovely.
It was awesome. It was the best. Um, it you know it. So that's I'm getting that rolling. I'm super excited about the lineup of teachers that I have rolling through. I'm sad that you can't be there, but I'm happy you're going to be in Scotland. Um, and then after that, I mean, now at this point, current time, as people are listening, I've got all eyes focused on Marshall Summit and what Matic is going to be doing there.
Hmm.
Because we've got that rolling. Obviously, I'll be at Free Training Day Northeast, and I was thinking about that. So yeah, that's about it right now.
So this episode will come out late August. I think August 28th, I think, is release date. Anything you can talk about that you can tease about stuff coming up?
Oh boy. Well, okay. So I can tell you that Matic Martial Arts Teacher Training Certification, our team that we have, it's Dennis Campos in it, Abby Hoy, me, Jeremy, Aiden Coakley. We've been working really hard at developing some online content, and that should be rolling out pretty soon. And also, I can tell you that leveraging the combined experience of myself over 20 years teaching middle and high schoolers and that sort of, and Abby Hoy, who is an amazing instructor, not just a martial arts instructor, but she's a school teacher. We've leveraged our combined experience teaching to develop a course for middle and high school aged kids so they can work on their leadership skills and becoming assistant instructors in dojos and martial arts schools too. We call it Next Generation. And so that should be rolling out here not too long after this episode. So I would definitely keep an eye out for that, because that's really, we've got about 6 different projects running right now there, and that's a pretty special one. I'm really excited about it.
Yeah, so keep your eye out for the next iteration of martial arts teacher training certification. It might be already out by the time this releases, but we're not sure. Just keep an eye out, and maybe you'll see it there. Definitely, I know that for Summit, we're planning on definitely having some certification programs being offered. So that's in the works for sure as well. So keep an eye out for that stuff.
Correct. Yeah. And of course, the other thing that I loved was the off the book session that happened organically in the lobby last year. So at Marshall Summit, you feel free, if you see me and you're a school owner or an instructor and you need help with something, you just come find me. And last year, I think we had 8 to 12 school owners all working on their curriculum and standardizing and recognizing their curriculum. That's pretty fun too. So there's a lot of cool things coming up, especially tied around Summit. I'm there all weekend, so and I love to chat and learn about how other people's schools are working and help where I can. So there's a lot of really fun stuff coming up there. Plus, I think, Andrew, I'm submitting my application today to present at Free Training Day Northeast, but I think I'm going to teach a martial seminar this year and not just to talk about schools.
Oh, interesting. What's
The
your
first time in a while.
yeah, what's your plan? You already have an idea what you're going to teach?
Well, I have to loop in again with Dennis, because Dennis and I talked about rehashing. We did finishing holds of pro wrestling
Yep.
A couple years ago, and that was tons of fun. So I have to loop in with Dennis. I'm pretty sure he wanted to revisit that theme again and do it a little bit different. And if not, then I've got some Kempo fighting techniques that I'm looking to share with some people. And I couldn't think of a better place than Free Training Day.
One
of them is the one that I taught you.
Oh yeah, sure. For those that may not have been there, a few years ago, Craig and Dennis, along with a couple of your students, let's see, Noah and Jake, right?
Right.
Yeah. They did a class on finishing holds of professional wrestling, which was amazingly fun. great time. Both you and Dennis are huge professional wrestling fans, so your love of that definitely came through in that class. Very well attended. It was absolutely a blast.
And I think the thing that was fun about it was Jake and Noah. I'm lucky to have them in my everyday martial arts life, but for that, they are they both trained at pro wrestling schools. And
Yeah,
then Dennis and I were fortunate enough to have some, joint manipulation experience to know how to put those holds on that actually does the damage that you're seeing on the screen. We were able to actually teach the efficient use of them, and it was just tons of fun. At the end, I think I hit Jake with a chair.
you did.
Um, and which that's a fun story. I was trained in a private lesson how to do that by John Cena Sr.
Oh, tell that story.
Yeah, so during COVID, we did a virtual training camp for kids because we always at my school had a weekend sleepaway camp. And obviously, once the pandemic rolled around and everything shut down, a sleepaway camp was on the cards. So we did a virtual one where kids could train from home. We had all sorts of stuff, but I needed something to make it special. And I was talking to some people, and it just so happened that there was like 1 degree of separation from me to John Cena Sr. And he lives 20 minutes from me. So I said it'd be really cool if he would do this. Do you think he would come up and talk to the kids and give some sort of motivational speech or something, something neat? And the person talked to him, and he said, "Yeah, absolutely." So he showed up, and he came to the karate school, and he got on the Zoom with all the kids and talked to them for a while, which was awesome, and all the kids loved it. And he brought like John Cena's actual belts that he had on TV and stuff. And then it was me and Jake and a couple other wrestling nerds in here afterwards. And so once the Zoom hung up, we started asking him questions. And he's, I think he's in his 70s. And he was like picking up Jake and slamming him. I asked him to hit me with a chair and show me how it worked because I was really interested. Like, because it's an interesting thing because you're making contact. So how can you guarantee you're not going to hurt somebody? And so we spent probably about a half hour, 45 minutes with him after, and he was teaching us all sorts of stuff. And actually, I still have his phone number. We still chat once in a while, which is cool.
That's really cool. That's really cool. Now, does he have a background in wrestling before his son got involved?
So his whole thing was in pro wrestling, and I guess it was like a thing that kept his whole family kind of like because John Cena has 3 brothers. Like there's 4 boys in that family, and wrestling was kind of the common thread. Some of them went on to police work and this, that, and the other thing, but his dad actually worked at independent wrestling shows locally. So like if you go to one of the high school gymnasiums or the small venues, you could probably see his dad still to this day doing some stuff, which is pretty cool. And I found out that John Cena Sr.'s he trained in Kempo back in the 80s at Bob Meserve's Health and Self-Defense, which is where my school came from.
Oh, wow.
So I tried really hard to get him to come back to and be in my classes, but it didn't work out. So but it was pretty cool. So we had a martial arts connection, and he's just a good guy. So we had a good kind of little friendship going on there for a bit. And as with anybody in kind of any sort of spotlight, you don't want to go to that well all the time. So
Sure.
once in a while on his birthday, I'll text him or he'll text me and that sort of thing. But it's pretty cool.
Yeah. No, I get that. That as you said, it not going to the well too many times. We, obviously we here at whistlekick have connections to lots of martial artists that have been on the show, but we want to recognize that some of them are famous and probably get asked to do lots of things lots of different times. So we say same sort of concept. We try not to use that and utilize that connection too often. I get that.
Yeah, they're people too. They deserve to be liked for more than just what they can do for you.
Yep.
So for free training day, I got to chat with Dennis. I think he was interested in doing that. If not, I've got some Kempo fighting techniques ready to go that I'm pretty excited to share. I want to say the past 3 years, I've been pretty much just presenting lectures and things like that. And so it'll be fun to get out there and move a little bit.
Yeah, no, that'll be great. Well, we're certainly looking forward to having you there. Hopefully, everybody listening and/or watching will be able to attend Marshall Summit November 6th through the 9th, 2025. We are back at Keene State College again for Saturday, but all of the stuff going on is all around town. There's lots of different venues, lots of stuff going on. So certainly we hope you can all check it out. Craig, thanks so much for coming on and chatting with me. This was a lot of fun.
Yeah, man, anytime. You know that. I have a blast. I look forward to it. So,
I mean, you say anytime just because you want to stay ahead of Victor and Nick for the number of times you've been on the show.
yeah, Tabor's catching up to me. This is not. Listen, my throne is getting a little threatening here. So, yeah, we need to come up with some more episodes. So, if you can think of any episodes you want to hear me talk about, Craig at whistlekick.com.
Yeah, absolutely. You can always reach you can always reach me, Andrew at whistlekick.com. As I mentioned at the beginning of the show, whistlekickmartialartsradio.com for this show. Subscribe to our newsletter, whistlekick.com for everything else that Whistlekick does. And I didn't mention it at the beginning, but if you could do us a huge favor, it would be to go to YouTube and click the like and subscribe button, and the notification button. It really helps grow the show, and it costs you nothing to do. So please do that. Another thing you can do to help the show that costs you nothing is to tell a friend. Let somebody else know about this episode or any one of the other over 1,000 episodes that we've done. We would really appreciate that, and it really, again, helps the show grow. And if you do have the ability to help the show financially, you can do that at patreon.com/whistlekick. And for as little as $5 a month, which is, let's face it, at this point, less than a cup of coffee or less than a beer. So if you were to buy Jeremy and I a beer once a month, it would cost you $5. It would really help the show happen. And you would be surprised at how much that $5 will really go. It goes a long way to help us connect, educate, and entertain traditional martial artists of the world. Craig, did I miss anything?
The only thing is, if you go to the YouTube and you check it out, you'll be able to see how handsome Andrew woke up this morning, and that's pretty special too.
That's true. I did cleanly shave myself this morning. That's true.
I did not.
No, but I'm hopping on an airplane in a few days, and I don't like to be scruffy when I'm trapped on a plane.
That's fair enough. Yeah, I really hope I see you all at Marshall Summit. It's tons of fun. I love connecting with everybody. So do your best to make it, please. It's always a blast.
Please do. And until next time,
train hard,
smile,
and have a great day.